when I first arrived here in Rustington, there was quite a lot of suspicion about finance. I don't think people really wanted to talk about finance, and I think it's something that had been very much done by a small group of people in the past. And expanding that out, the whole congregation, was quite important, because we're all stewards of what we have here, and it's up to us all to have a say and to think about what God wants us to do with what we have. We know there are some great resources within the diocese that can help us with different areas of our church life, and this was an area that we wanted to focus on because we were aware that we had a shortfall in the general giving of the church for the running costs. So having the generous giving advisor come along to the church actually started us on a wider generosity journey. So we found that actually while we were encouraging the congregation to think about their own personal giving, this expanded into other projects and reaching out into the community into a way that we just didn't imagine would happen. So I think managing to cultivate a generous spirit within the church was a really helpful thing for us to do, because people actually thought about that within their own lives and prayed about it and thought, what can I offer? And for some people that was financial, and for other people that was volunteering in different ways. Sometimes I think it's a little bit more difficult to encourage and inspire people to help us run with the day-to-day nuts and bolts of the church life. Not that long ago, our printer photocopier broke in the office, and we had a limited number of news sheets printed that week. So I stood up at the front of church as normal and said, I'm really sorry, limited number of news sheets this week because the photocopier has broken. It's going to cost this much money to replace, and it was quite a substantial sum. We didn't ask people for money. We very rarely ask people for money. We give the facts and figures in a way which is interesting, hopefully. For example, at other points we've had quizzes to say how much does it cost to heat the church, for a month or that sort of thing. But this time we just put out the information about the photocopier, and within 2 weeks all the money had come in from different donors.
So on the notice sheet we have a pie chart or a bar chart which highlights any shortfalls or profits that we have each month. And to explain that, we also give a little multiple choice quiz. For example, how much do we spend on candles and communion wine, or how much is our utility bills per month? And then we give the answers, and it's quite a surprise for everyone.
What we tend to do as a parish is put out the information to people, hopefully in ways which are accessible, and that means that people are well furnished with what's happening and how much things cost, and are able to contribute in different ways towards that.